The following 7 are some of the Excel top functions that you will always need to use in each and every day of your data analysis. Now, let us start with the very first one. First, I am going to list them. Then after that, I'm going to show you how to use each and every one of the function that we are talking about. Now, the first one, in this case, we are talking about the sum function. The second one, we are talking about the average function. The third one, we are talking about the maximum function or the max function. The fourth one, we are talking about the minimum function or the min function. The fifth one, we are talking about the count function. Then the sixth one, we are talking about the counter function. Remember, the count function is different from the counter function. Then the last one, in this case, we are talking about the count blank function. Now let us start with the very first one, the sum function. Now, this is what the sum function does. The sum function simply it simply adds data in a particular range. For example, if you want to add data that is contained in cell under quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, up to quarter 4, that is what we need. We want to add data in cell quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. Instead of just clicking on there, coming here to type plus, then the last one, then equal sign, it still gives you the same result that will be given by the sum function. Now, instead of doing that for each and every data that we have or for each and every cell, we are just going to use the sum function. Now, this is how the sum function works. First, we start by typing equal sign, then write sum. You can see sum function adds all the numbers in a range of cells. Now, basically, it just adds numbers. It does not add text. So we double click. Then you can see these are the arguments within the sum function. It is number 1, number 2, up to the number infinity. Now we are just going to select from the first cell under quarter 1 up to the last cell under quarter 4. Then we close that. You can see we start with the first cell where we are starting from, then full colon, then we end with the last cell that we needed to select. Then with that, you have the same result that we had when we were manually adding them. Then you just double click, then that particular function and formula will be copied for the rest of the account managers or for the rest of the rows. That is exactly how the sum function works. Now let us see how the average function works. Average function, also called the mean function. Now let's see, in this case, the average function returns the average or the arithmetic mean of its arguments, which can be numbers or names arrays. Now, as opposed to the sum function, the average function can return the arithmetic mean of its arguments, which can either be numbers, names, or arrays. So we are not only talking about the numerical values in this case, but we are also talking about text. So it can also return the arithmetic mean or average of other characters other than the numerical values. So again, we double click. Then the arguments within the average function are still similar to what we saw in the sum function. It is number 1 up to number infinity. So again, we start from, say, the cell under quarter 1 up to quarter 4. It is still giving us the same thing. The argument and even the structure of this particular function is similar to that of the sum function, only that it is now returning the arithmetic mean. Now again, we click. We double click to copy this formula to the rest of the account managers or the rows. Then we come to this third function, which we call the maximum function or the max function. Now, what the max function does is to return the largest value in a set of values. It ignores the logical values and text. Yes, let's say that we have let us say that we have 4 cells that contains different numerical values. what we want from the 4 cells, we want to just select one cell that contains the largest numerical value. For example, these are cells from quarter 1 up to quarter 4. What we want to see, we want to see from quarter 1 up to quarter 4, which quarter reported the highest sales volume. That is exactly what the maximum function does. Again, double click, and again, the arguments within this particular maximum function is the same as that we saw in the sum function as well as in the average function. So again, we are going to select from the cell under quarter 1 up to quarter 4. Again, you can see everything is the same. And now you can see, yes, from quarter 1 up to quarter 4. If you can just look at them manually and then tell me which quarter reported the highest volume of sale. It is quarter 3, and the value in that case is 28,867.26, and that is exactly what has been returned by the maximum function. Now let us copy this formula down to the rest of the account managers. Now let us go to the second account managers, or the second row under this table, in this table, and see. Now the second row in this case, from quarter 1 up to quarter 4, which quarter reported the highest sale volume? Quarter 1, 24,271, quarter 2, 130, quarter 3, 116, quarter 4, 355. So it's automatically quarter 1 with 24,271, and that's exactly what we see in this case. Now the opposite of the maximum function is the minimum function. We want to find within a range of values, we want to see the least value that was reported. For example, for the first account manager, these are the sales volume. From quarter 1 up to quarter 4, which quarter returned the lowest sales volume? You can see it is obviously quarter 4. Yes, it is obviously quarter 4 with a value of 742.53. Let us see whether the minimum function is going to return that. Again, the equal sign, the min function, and you can see it returns the smallest number in a set of values. It ignores the logical values and text. Again, we are going to select from quarter 1 up to quarter 4. You can see exactly what we have seen. It is returning the smallest value within that range from quarter 1 up to quarter 4. And the exact value is $742.53. We copy the formula down. Then we come to the second column. We see from quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. In this case, it is the quarter 3 that reported the lowest sales volume at $116.61. And it is exactly what has been returned here. Now, those are the first 4 functions that we are talking about: the sum function, the average function, the maximum function, and the minimum function. Now, the last 3 functions we are looking at is the count function, the counter function, and the count blank function. Now guys, here we have our values. What we want to count the number of values from. This is now from cell C2 up to cell C15. Let us start with the first function that we have talked about under the last category of functions, and this is the count function. Count function, let's see what it does. It counts the number of cells in a range that contain numbers. Yes, the cells that are going to be counted, or the cells that are going to be returned in this case, have to contain numerical values. If that particular cell is going to be containing a text, it is not going to be returned by the count function. If it is blank, again, it is not going to be returned by the count function. Let's see how it works. Again, we take from cell C3 up to cell C15. Let us see how many items we have there. It is telling us that we only have 6 items. Let us count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There are 13 items. But when we look at those items that contain numerical values, they're supposed to be 6. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, guys, that is exactly what the count function does. It only returns the number of cells that contain numerical values and nothing else. Let us go to the second one. We have talked about the counter function. The counter function now counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. Yes, it is as simple as that, guys. It counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So it means that those cells may contain numerical values, text, or any other kind of character. Let's see. From cell C3 to cell C15, how many items do we have? We have 9 items. Let us count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There are 13 items, but let us now count those cells that are not empty. This one is empty. Now we start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, those cells that are not empty are 9, and that is exactly what the counter function does. The last one is the count blank function. Count blank function counts the number of cells, or it counts the number of empty cells in a specified range of cells. Yes, so in this case, we start from C3 to C15. We only want to count the number of empty cells. If a cell contains either numerical value or text, it is not going to be counted by the count blank function. Let's see if that is what it does. And it's telling us that the number of items in this case is only 4. Let's see. The total number in this case is 13, but let's count those cells that are empty. Cell 3, 1, cell C7, 2, cell C9, that is 3, then cell C11, that is 4. And that is exactly what we have. Now guys, these are the 7 functions that we have talked about. These are functions that you will always come across each and every day. You need to memorize them, you need to practice using them, and you need to understand them inside out, so as to ensure that your daily interaction with Excel will always be smooth. In our next video, we will be looking at the logical function, the if function, the nested ifs, and how we can incorporate the logical functions into this function that we have talked about.